Hello, and welcome to a presentation on the very small and rather cute bog turtle. The bog turtle is native to the eastern United States, ranging from about New York down to the Carolinas. Sadly, it is also a threatened species, and this is due mostly because of habitat fragmentation and destruction. It is so small, it fits in the palm of your hand. With a shell that is about 3.5 to 4 inches long. As the name implies, it lives in bogs, and it is semi-aquatic by nature. Bog turtles can be identified by 3 characteristics in particular. First and foremost is their tiny size. They're one of the smallest turtles in North America. Their shell is a mahogany color, as you can see here, and there are yellow markings on both sides of the neck. Bog turtles are omnivores, meaning that they must get their energy from the wide range of foods that they eat. They primarily eat invertebrates, such as slugs, worms, and insects, but they also eat seeds and berries as well. Bog turtles, as well as all other animals, use metabolic processes to break down the organic material in the food they eat. They do this to create a chemical compound called ATP, or adenosine triphosphate, which is basically used within the cells in a variety of ways to keep the bog turtle alive and well. Like all other living things, bog turtles use generative processes to grow. Throughout this growth process, the bog turtle's shell starts out small, but eventually reaches its adult size. Bog turtles have responsive processes, one of which is individual adaptation. An example of an individual adaptation in bog turtles is hibernation. Now, during the cold seasons, the bog turtle has adapted to the low temperatures by burying itself in the mud and hibernating until the weather turns warm again. Control processes are the reason why living things can continue to live. One such process is known as homeostasis. The bog turtle maintains homeostasis through the coordination and regulation of its internal environment inside its body. In other words, every biological process carried out inside the turtle is completed in a specific order at a specific rate to keep everything in balance. The bog turtle has structural similarities with every other living organism in that it is made out of cells. Every cell is the same basic structure with different organelles that carry out specific different functions.
Take a look at this New Jersey marsh. These muddy swamps, known as fens, may not look like much, but they are home to a huge variety of plant and animal species. Among these species is the critically endangered bog turtle. Bog turtles are known for their size. Adults, on average, grow to 4 inches long, just big enough to fit within the palm of your hand. The mystery of their disappearance can be partially explained by an ecological concept known as metapopulations. Metapopulations are groups of populations that exist in mixed patches of suitable and unsuitable habitats. Think about the patches like islands. Each island may or may not be colonized by turtles. When turtles die and disappear from one island, another set of turtles from a neighboring island can come over and establish a new colony. This migration ensures that the population survives even when food runs out or the weather changes drastically. But metapopulations change when humans enter the equation. Because of the urbanization of New Jersey, fens are disappearing across the state and they are taking the bog turtles with them. When these patches of usable habitat are replaced with suburbs or cut off from each other by highways, bog turtles can no longer live in or migrate between the patches. With the loss of usable patches, the population dwindles. Without migration, more and more patches become vacant forever. But this is changing. Thanks to the efforts of federal and New Jersey state biologists, patches of habitat are being preserved. Officials are connecting key bog turtle habitats, improving populations within patches and migration between them. The bog turtle isn't the only thing that is helped by protecting the fen. A variety of other species are helped by improved corridors and patches. By supporting the conservation efforts of the state, we can help preserve the natural history of New Jersey. For the Ecology and Evolutionary Biology Department at Princeton University, this has been Jonathan Choi. This video was produced by Victor Pomery and drawn by Ray Wu.
Specialized structures are really important for the survival of all living things. And one such specialized structure that really helps turtles is the turtle shell. The turtle shell is made of two main parts. There's the top half, which is called the carapace, and the bottom half, which is the plastron. This has multiple reasons why it's really important for them. First is the protection from predators and environmental conditions. Second, we have shelter. It provides shelter for hibernation. It allows for fat storage and calcium storage. Bog turtles have inherited genetic traits. Some of these are physical characteristics, such as its teeny tiny little size. Others are things like instincts. Like we talked about already, we have hibernation. There are genetic conditions that keep the bog turtle from thriving. One of them is the fact that there's small gene pools. The bog turtles live in separate bogs that are separated by significant distances when you consider their size. They need to travel between the populations to share genes. And as described in the video, populations are being cut off from each other due to land development. And so as land is turned into places for humans to exist, these bog turtles are cut off from each other. And therefore they're no longer able to travel between populations to share genes and as a result, the small gene pools make it less likely for them to survive because they have less genetic diversity. As their name states, bog turtles live in bogs. Bogs have lots of different parts to them, lots of different places for the bog turtle to take out different functions. For example, they can hibernate in the mud, they can sun themselves on land, and they can find protection in the water. The bog turtle is going through lots of environmental changes caused by human impact. Land development throughout its ecosystem has caused them to be cut off from each other, as the video described so well. But we are trying to help by creating gateways in between populations and ways to get to new ecosystems so that they can populate new areas. And by doing this, we're able to create more genetic diversity because they're able to pass traits between gene pools. Controversies that we are facing is whether or not it's worth the money to spend to create these pathways and to do the things that are necessary in order to save the bog turtle.